What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on my Audi R8 and doing the first interior mod that's going to give it a really nice look. Now this is something we have never done in any other vehicle before. We are changing out the seat belts. We are currently working on the Supra as well, so I'll have that link down in the description below. Anyone can do this. It's pretty much a similar process, and we're finding compared to the Supra and the R8, it's really not all that different. There's just some different trim pieces that you have to remove, of course, and things like that. So you can see these samples down on the ground here. I got these from seatbeltplanet.com, and you can see we already went ahead and removed the passenger side seatbelt just to get a better grasp at how to do this. I do have a brighter red coming, so I'm excited to see that, and we do have to ship out these seatbelts, so that's why we have the passenger one out. So I already went ahead and moved both of these seats forwards and as high up as they can go so they are out of my way. And that actually comes in handy when you'll see what we're working on underneath the seat. So these seats actually raise up like 2 or 3 inches. So starting on the driver's side here, we're going to pop this panel out. If you guys saw in a previous video, when I first got this car, I wasn't sure if there were speakers that were supposed to be back here or not, but after taking the whole interior out, there's nothing back there for that would show a speaker would be there. So if you saw that video, if you're interested, it did not come with any speakers. So with that panel out now, we do have to go ahead and remove this entire lower shelf here. And it's actually really easy to do. So there are 4 of these points that you'll find throughout that take a 9mm socket. And so we can go ahead and loosen up all 4 of these. So with all 4 of those out, you do have to remove the other cover as well. And then there's 4 tabs on the bottom. So just by giving this a firm pull, you can see it already come loose. And so since we already did this once, it makes it a little bit easier. So the next thing that we have to go ahead and do is remove this entire upper section here because it is covering this panel here. And this panel here where the seatbelt is one entire piece. So that's going to come out together. So all you have to do is remove this cover here first. So if you do have a child's seat, you can lock it there in your R8 and then just give this a firm pull. And like I said, it's a little bit easier. I didn't put it all the way back into place, but there are 3 tabs on that. And so the other piece that's covering that panel is this lower one here by the driver door. And so I think on the other side, I just kind of slowly worked it, but you can hear that kind of popping a little bit. So it's just going to take a little wiggling, a little patience, and we can pop this piece off. Next up, to go ahead and remove this entire piece, there are 2 bolts here, the star keys, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then there's also a push pin that attaches this to that point right there. And once you have that out, you can kind of just go ahead and slowly start to wiggle this. Now on the driver's side, we do have the release for the engine cover, so just be mindful of that because it is hooked up on the back side. So it was a little bit easier to pull on the passenger side one. And then this panel of the roof, I guess you can say the roof here with this Alcantara, is actually covering the top of this as well. So on the other side, I kind of just used the leverage of this to go ahead and pop that out. And we'll see how that goes on this side because I want to be careful of that switch there. Okay. So, not broken, and that is still attached, so that is good news. So there's a pin there that we can just go ahead and disconnect that. That noise you heard was this little metal clip here, and I'm going to reinstall that before I put this panel back on, of course. So nothing broke, it's just popped right out. So now we have these 2 bolts on the upper section here, and we have this 12-sided socket tool that we're using in order to do this. So I did have to go out and buy a specialty tool just for these 3 bolts. All right, so with that upper bracket out of the way, we have 1 more bolt to go. And you guys, this is going so much quicker on this side compared to the passenger side. So of course, once you get the hang of it, it's very easy to do. So now there's this plastic bracket on the rail for the seat. So I'm just gonna use a flathead. We did this on the other side just to kind of pop this up and out of the way. So with the flathead just up underneath the plastic here, I was able to use that leverage to go ahead and slide that back. So now what we're searching for is that 3rd bolt, just like the 2 that you saw. If I flip up this cover here, we can use, of course, that same socket to go ahead and loosen this up. With that bolt out, I'm going to take the floor liner here and peel it away just a little bit, where you'll also notice we have a cable release for the rear engine compartment. So that is electronic. If it fails, we have that right there. But now we can go ahead and disconnect this plug. So with all of that unplugged, there were a few points holding this to the bodywork itself. We can start to loosen this bracket here and pull this wiring through, and that is the lower connection, which is not connected anymore. And on the upper section now, the only way we were able to find this bolt on the other side was actually taking the entire seatbelt out, and that provided us with enough room to get our tool down to see that bolt. And with a little bit of extra force, start loosening that bolt. With that last bolt out, we do have to remove this yellow connection. There's an orange tab on the top. I'm gonna slowly work the flathead to pop it up just like that. And so with that out, we can remove this entire panel that the seatbelt is attached to. So with this side here being very delicate with that, we can go ahead and fish this side of the seatbelt right through this end. And then I have 2 seatbelts ready to send out to seatbeltplanet.com. So we're gonna ship these out today and have the new color. They're going to do the weave and everything else and have these ready for us to install into the car. It is now time to install these seatbelts, and I love this color. As you saw earlier in today's video, I did not have a sample for this one, but I'm definitely glad that I went with this brighter red. It's going to match this car really nicely. So I already went ahead and did the passenger side, which is a little bit more difficult than the driver's side here. So you can see we have this portion here that's going to go in the lower section, and there's a tab here along with the bolt hole. And so I just need to feel around for that portion to lock into place. On the other side, there were just a lot more electronics in the way. So this one, I can actually see the bolt hole and line this up. From there, I can go ahead and plug this back in because there is an explosive charge in there. So that's easy just like that. And I have this bracket with this plastic portion on it that I'm just going to pop off. And now I just have to line it up with which way it goes back here. So it's like that. I need to put the seatbelt in this way and put that back on. And now I can put those 2 bolts back in. With that all installed, it is time to fish this through this ginormous trim piece. And then we can focus on attaching the bottom of it. The seatbelt buckle itself fits nicely through there. And if I do a quick kind of mock-up here just to get that out of the way, now we can take this portion here, which I actually have to feed through the carpet because it's bolted here on your left side there. So if I take this and put it at a 90-degree angle, there's some divots on the back of it that will line up. So it's a little bit harder on the other side. Hopefully it's easier the second time around. And now I can take this bolt and get this on. With the lower section all buttoned up, there is a piece that came back with the seatbelt, this little thing here, that's actually holding the seatbelt out. So it's not retracting all the way, which is nice. So it gives us some room to work with. So now what I can do is put this piece back into place. I already went ahead and reconnected the engine cover release and should be able to wiggle this back into place here. And then last up on the side before we put this bench back in the middle is popping this Alcantara piece back into place, which is really cool that Audi designed it this way, so you don't even have to mess with the entire headliner. You just have to work with this piece here. And last up is this shelf that I mentioned, which is pretty easy to put back into place. Just have to watch out for these seat belts because there are 2 bolts on the top and 4 tabs on the bottom. So I really just have to wiggle it into place here. And then on each side, as you saw earlier, I just have to push those back into place and this will be in. So with the rest of the trim pieces that I put back in place, including this kick plate here, it is time to check out my new seat belts. And I haven't been in my car for a little bit of time now, but here we go. I have never had a different color seatbelt in any of my vehicles, and these look really cool. I'm excited with this color because it matches the few red trim pieces I have on my gauge cluster here, and a few more rad exterior trim pieces that will be coming in a later video. So this is pretty cool. We have the locking system there, so everything is working properly. Definitely check out seatbeltplanet.com. I'll have all their information down in the description below. If you guys want to do this on your own vehicle, it's a really cool mod. You're going to stand out a little bit more because most vehicles come with black seatbelts. So this is a great way to spruce up your interior, especially with the red on white. What do you guys think? Comment down below. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Give it a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button to stay up to date on our daily uploads. I have a lot more plans for this car. We'll see you guys in the next video.